So, welcome everyone. Excited to have you here for the Identity Shift Masterclass. And we are going to be diving deep tonight. So, do I have your permission to just go deep, to not hold back, to cover everything we need to cover? Because I believe in if we are here to create lasting change and we are here to shift, and life is a journey, is it not? Like, I swear that what I've been through, I am writing a book, but you just wouldn't read about some of this stuff. So, tonight we're going to dive deep into shifting your mindset, but also shifting in a way that isn't just repeating affirmations or feeling like you're never getting anywhere or trying to push yourself and think that willpower is enough. But who's been there where they've gone, this time it's going to be different? And you've done the work, you've done the affirmations, you've written down what you want in your life, you've set goals. And then suddenly you feel like you've spiraled and you're back where you started. Put in the comments if you can relate. Like, just let me know if you go, you know what? I feel like I've been on a bit of a, what do they say? You come back around for deeper meaning. I've been on a bit of a spiral and it never ends. So let me know if the chat, if you can relate to that, because it never stops. It'd be great if it didn't. So the journey is around the identity shift, which the idea is it's not about changing who you are. It's not suddenly you wake up tomorrow and you're a totally different person. It's acknowledging your journey today. It's making peace with the journey, but it's also understanding that what shapes your reality and the choices you are making are based on a version of you that existed way before you arrived here today. So, as most of you know, when you're born, you're imprinted with your parents' ideas, with school, with everything we go through as children. And then as we grow up, we're replaying those programs. And so every time you're let down by someone, every time a relationship ends or a friendship ends, or a coworker makes a criticism, or family tell you you're not good enough, it fires off a signal that is already in your subconscious program that tells you there it is. There it is. The I'm not good enough, the doubt, the fear, I'm never going to get there. Who can relate to that? That they just know that signal fires. And it may be an innocent comment, like someone just says, oh, you always do that. Seriously, you always do that. And then you go, there it is. And that spirals you. And before you know it, you've eaten 2 packs of Tim Tams and done everything you promised yourself you never do, or you've spiraled, or you press pause on your life, or you don't show up in a way you know you want to, or you sabotage all that hard work, whether it's getting your health on track, whether it's attracting in new friendships, relationships, purpose work, whatever it is for you, applying for that new job, whatever it is you're wanting, you suddenly find you pull back and you no longer show up in the way you thought you would. That's because it's firing off a signal that has a memory bank of all those programs you're running subconsciously. Give me a yes in the comments if you're still with me. Yeah. So I've been coaching for over 15 years. I've been seeing hundreds of clients. I've seen what holds people back, but I've also seen what breaks them through, what gets you to the other side where you move past fear for good. So for those who don't know, some of you know my story. It was about in my early 20s, I'd say, when I got hit with severe anxiety. And I mean the kind of anxiety where you get severe panic attacks and can't go out in public, where the thought of crowds frightened me, where speaking used to make me bright red, where I used to stammer and think, I've got nothing good to say. Why would anyone want to listen to me? And my inner voice was loud. So if I was speaking to someone I didn't know, I would clam up and my heart would beat so fast. Who's ever been there where you go to speak in public or you're speaking to someone and suddenly your heart's going and you're bright red and your heart's beating and you're trying to get the words out? That was me often. And so I tried the affirmations, I tried the visualizations, I tried everything. But until I got to the deep-seated belief, which is I have nothing important to say, I'm not good enough, I'm never going to get anywhere, or I compare myself to everyone else out there, going, well, they have it easy. Did they get a free pass? Who thinks some people got a free pass in this lifetime? Where you go, they seem to have it all. But really, you don't know what it took to get them there. So for me, it was like overcoming those things and realizing that these are patterns. And if you don't break the pattern, which is that old story or belief that's running, and I want you to think about, and I'm assuming everyone bought pen and paper or journal, what's one area of your life you know you're repeating the same pattern over and over again? And just write it down. You seem to come back to it time and time again. And it will show up in co-workers, bosses, relationships, friendships, where your boundaries are crossed or where you feel like you just play out the same story. And it may appear in money. It comes through in many different ways in our life. And just have a think about what area of your life is that showing up time and time again. And then if you were to look deeper, what's the belief that you're running around that? So say, for example, if it's I constantly get let down by people. I can't believe that people always turn around and do this thing to me, or tell me I'm not good enough, or just ghost me, or whatever it is, or criticize, or whatever it is for you. The deeper belief may be, I can't trust people, people will let me down. And so when you look at that, you go, that belief stems from a deep-seated belief of I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy, or people will always do this. So when you think about saying people always, what are you believing about yourself in what you attract? And how do you now need to shape it differently? So if I go out into the world thinking people will always let me down, and I have a deep-seated belief that I'll be let down by others, if I don't get to the core of that and go, it's actually a worthiness, I don't think I'm good enough, and that people will constantly, there's something in me that they won't like. And until I address that and realize that, where does that stem from? And it may be, an inner child, it may have been a teacher, it may have been you let down at 5, whatever that is. Until we get to the core belief, you will never shift it. And it will play out over and over again until you get that boundary of, I no longer allow people to do that. I no longer have fear around being hurt. Does that make sense? Is everyone with me so far? Yeah. Because it keeps, if you find patterns keep repeating in certain areas and you're going, but I just need to do an affirmation, or I just need to shift it, or I just need to push past my fear. But then that's where you'll see people start to attract in the job they love, the relationship they've been dreaming of, the friendships, the community, all of that. Like they suddenly have everything they've wanted. But if you don't feel worthy of attracting that in, you will sabotage it on some level. You will push it away. And you'll go, that's scary. Because there's an innate fear. And if the fear isn't looked at or released, it plays on a loop. So I've had clients come to me that, I had a client specifically that was afraid to get into a relationship. She'd never had one. And she had this deep-seated fear of, if I get into a relationship, it's the scariest thing. But until we traced it back to, she'd watched her parents fight. So she had a fear of, if I get into a relationship, I'm going to end up fighting like them. So once she got to the core reason and realized she is not her parents, that doesn't have to be her story, it started shifting everything. So it's getting to the core root. Otherwise, we repeat and repeat our patterns. So just some background on what that looks like. But I'm just going to open up. If we can press play. So I assume everyone can see this. Yeah, give me a yes. Amazing. And just put in the comments if you have any questions as we go, because I love to, I want you to walk away tonight with this real awareness of, I can see where I've been stuck, or I can see where I've been playing things out, but it's not, I need to suddenly wake up and do something different, because I think we put so much pressure on ourselves to be a different person in a month or in a week or in a year, instead of making peace with the journey we're on. Because when we make peace with the journey we're on, our life shifts threefold. When we realize that it's not you, it's your stories, it's your beliefs, it's your patterns. And that's why diets fail, why our health falls apart, why we sabotage, and why we get fear and don't take that leap into that relationship, career, purpose, whatever it is you're wanting, travel, you know your life and what you're wanting it to look like. But that's why we will constantly sabotage those things or attract in a pattern, because we feel like there's these underlying beliefs and childhood patterns. So if you're living from those beliefs and patterns and only you know what they are, they're not reflecting who you're coming. So if you feel stuck, remember, it's not your fault. You're playing an old record. It's like you've got an old record out of the cupboard and you've gone, oh, what am I going to put on today? I know, not good enough. And you play it. But then you're trying to push forward. But if your core's saying, I'm not worthy, no matter how much you push, you're going to pull back. Does that make sense? Until you realize you really are worthy. But that's another story. Oh, now why isn't it skipping? I swear I practiced this before. So you know that you want to change. Who knows that they're ready to shift, that they're ready to change their patterns? Lasting change happens beneath the surface. So when I had anxiety and really severe anxiety, and I knew where I wanted to get to, like even though I suffered debilitating anxiety, I had a vision of what I wanted my life to look like, or I had a knowing of where I wanted to get to. And I didn't just take a leap. I had to work with what was the deep-seated patterns. So it's really hard to change if you're staying in the same loop. So awareness, unlocking the key to what is the belief you still believe to be true? What is that deep-seated knowing you're carrying around? What is a statement you're making every day? Usually first, for some people, first thing in the morning or last thing at night is you'll get the pattern. So reach out after this, because some of you'll wake up tomorrow or over the next few days and you go, I see what it is. If you don't know it now, it will get clear. You'll catch it during the day, because awareness is power, and awareness is where we start shifting. So you may not know it yet, but you will. I've worked with, I remember a client coming to me that had, similar to me, back in the day, she had severe agoraphobia and fear of leaving the home. And she was constantly stuck going, I just can't do this. And until we got to the deep-seated belief she had around herself, once we shifted that, she transformed her life. And I've had other clients where they're going, I constantly sabotage my weight. Like I can't seem to lose it. I lose a bit and I put it back on. I lose a bit. But then it was fear of being seen. Because if you get your health on track and you start eating clean and you start feeling good, you're going to be seen. You're going to be, you've got a different kind of energy you put out into the world. So people are going to see you and you're going to start showing up differently. And then you're not sabotaging by putting food into your body that's no good for you. So you start being seen. So a lot of clients that I've had to work around health with have had to really shift some deep-seated beliefs around being seen, around a fear of what that will mean for changing their life. And that is why we sabotage patterns, is because we're afraid of the ripple effect will be, I'm going to then have nowhere to hide. But if we sabotage, whether that's weight, health, lifestyle, career, whatever it is, relationship, then we actually have to start doing the thing. And that can be the scariest thing when we're not used to it. Because if we are used to being stuck in doubt or not good enough or fear or shame, being happy and healthy, and who knows what I'm talking about, where you feel fantastic. Everyone would have done that with females, where you suddenly feel brilliant and you're like, I've got it going on, and you've been on your health kick and you feel fantastic. Everyone's like, oh, you're glowing, you look fabulous. And then suddenly you start sneaking and you start sabotaging. and you start railroading, it's not because you're a failure. It's because you're so used to feeling like that. That fear of feeling good and people complimenting you is unusual in your body. So until you clear that pattern, the superficial stuff you do, the surface level, doesn't get to the root cause, if that makes sense. So if you feel like you know what to do, but you just can't seem to do it. So you know exactly what to do. We always do. It might be, I need to show up. I need to go on that date. I need to join that group. Or I need to wake up and meditate, go for that walk. Or you keep repeating the same relationship, money, confidence, or self-worth patterns, like you feel like you're on a loop every day. Or you're overthinking decisions. Who gets stuck in overwhelm where you just can't decide anything? You just go, should I do A or B? Path A, path B. And you overthink it and then you stay stuck. Or you take 2 steps forward and 10 steps back because it's like, what if it's the wrong decision? What if I can't get there? I used to be a chronic overthinker. Lying in bed overthinking every night, every decision. You know you're meant for more, whatever that is for you. You know you're more. What is the top thing that is really weighing on your mind at the moment? Write it down. You know what it is. What is the top thing you know, but something keeps pulling you back or railroading you? What is the thing that would change your life, that 10% thing that holds you back? So if you know all of this, there's a reason, and it's not because you're broken. It's not your fault. You are still running an old program. You're running an old record. Don't you wish you could just smash it outside and go, hey, I'm done with that? And a bit of, the wellness industry will say you clear it once you're done. And that is actually a misconception, because what that does is damages you thinking, but I've done it, or I've done the self-help, or I read the book, or I attended some course. Why didn't it work? And then we beat ourselves up, thinking there's something failing in us. But really, it may not have gone deep enough to the root cause. It didn't get into your subconscious program. And we'll get to that in a minute. So you're not broken, first thing. Just because you're not where you want to be does not mean there's something wrong with you. Just because you're not where you want to be does not mean there's something wrong with you. Remember that. You've been living from beliefs, and beliefs are statements or opinions you formed about yourself that were from childhood, that were before you were even conceived. Sometimes it comes through ancestral, comes through our parents, comes through as a child. So those beliefs are why you are where you are, and you're comparing yourself to someone, but they have different beliefs. If someone believes, I'm confident, I'm going to get that job, I'm going to get that relationship, or their boundaries are they'd never stand for anything else. So those beliefs quietly influence what feels safe. So that's why we always go back to safety, even if we don't want it. And safety for some means lack of income, lack of friendships, lack of relationships, lack of clarity, lack of purpose, whatever that looks like for you. But we go back to safety even when we don't want it. It's like wearing an old coat we don't want anymore, but we put it back on, even though we know it's not good for us. But until you see the pattern, or until you see the core belief that you've still been running the old record, you can't heal it. So that's why if you've been doing surface level healing, or you've been trying to heal on a level of, I'll do an affirmation or I'll listen to a meditation, it's not getting to the core childhood belief or the core healing. And that's why it keeps replaying like an old record in the background. So it's playing in the background and you don't even realize it's running. So it's not something you're doing wrong. So your subconscious versus conscious mind. So your conscious mind is the thoughts you have every day that you think you're making choices. So where you go, all right, today I'm not eating chocolate this week. Today's Monday. I'm going to start today and I'm going to feel fabulous. That's me every Monday. Who can relate to that? Yeah. Today, that's it. I'm going to be doing this thing. Or you suddenly decide, I'm going to read a chapter of a book every day. I'm going to unplug from my phone for an hour a day, or whatever goals you've set for yourself. This is my year. This year is going to happen. It's going to happen. That is 5% of your mind coming up with those thoughts. But if your subconscious houses your identity, who you truly are, your beliefs, your memories, your emotions, your habits, your automatic response, you are running on subconscious program, which is your deep-seated belief. So when that program's running, no matter the thoughts, the goals you set, the ideas you have, you will not achieve them. And that's why the sabotage happens and we constantly spiral, is because the program that is your subconscious that's formed, in childhood is still running a program. So it's like if you're saying, I'm not good enough, or you have doubt or fear about achieving something, no amount of goal setting or writing down or going to the gym is going to change it. No amount of starting Monday on that health kick. If your deep-seated belief is, I'm never going to get there, I fail anyway. Because who starts Monday by Tuesday in drive-through Macca's or binging on chocolate going, that's because I always fail. See, why do I even bother? Or you think it's not you just need the right program. Instead of going, actually, there's a deep-seated belief, I'm a failure, I'm never going to get there, it doesn't work for me. Or there's something wrong with my willpower. Who thinks they just need more willpower? I can change my life as soon as I get strong enough. Willpower only takes you so far. Because if your core belief is, I'm never going to get there, it's all too hard, or I just need the right thing, instead of what is the actual belief, what's the old record you're running? And if you don't know your old record program and it's running, you'll find it. It will come up. Get awareness of what is it saying to you and catch it. Some of you already know it. Some of you I know have done the work. And I know some of you know exactly what record you're running. Some of you, it might be new to you and you go, oh, I still have to investigate that. But that's why willpower alone never, or motivation or goal setting doesn't work. And then we blame ourselves. It's not your fault. You were destined to fail because you're still running a belief that it's all too hard, that I'm not good enough, that I'm never going to get there. The only way I could develop, and I've seen clients transform their lives from the inside out because we got to the core belief and shifted it. That is the only thing that reprograms. No, that's why if you can do an affirmation every day, and who used to do them back in the day? I remember doing them, and then I'd be like, but I don't believe it. I don't actually. And I was saying, someone might have given me one to say, or I wrote it down because that was the cool thing to do. And I didn't actually believe what I was saying. But until I got beneath that, nothing's going to shift. So you can say every day, I love and accept myself, but do you? Do you really? Or do you believe you can achieve that? So your subconscious is running the whole show. So it really isn't your fault where you're at. It's a deep-seated belief. And until you catch that belief and shift it, it's going to keep the same program. Oop, every time I try. So you may have seen this iceberg, but the subconscious is below the surface. So you know how we've got the ocean, it's running below. The things you don't see, that's your old patterns. That's your protection. That's the familiar stories that go round and round. And your conscious choice is where you go, this is what I'm doing today. So you can't change your pattern by the above surface stuff. That's not where it works. All the patterns, beliefs, and old programs and stories are beneath the conscious mind. And the conscious mind is the one that's just replaying, this every time we decide to do something where we think we just need willpower or motivation, whatever that is. The old stories are way below, way below. That's why we attract in the same patterns and go, oh, here we are again. So I used to attract in the same thing. Like you know, for me, it's like, I was growing a business and then suddenly I'd get all these clients and I'd freak out because I hadn't learned to hold all that, or my worthiness wasn't there. And I'd be like, it's happening. So you may, wherever you're at in life, it may be, you're wanting to grow a business, or it may be you're wanting that promotion at work, or it may be you're wanting to, have the love of your life, or, new friendships or community or whatever it is. But if you're going to freak out when you start receiving it, that's the subconscious program going, are you really sure you want this? Are you really sure? So think about, what is it you're wanting your life to look like, or what are you wanting to attract in? And what do you know is that program you're still running? What is running underneath the surface that's stopping you? How would it feel if you got everything you wanted right now? Whatever it is, what you're wanting, what area of your life you're wanting to shift. Would your nervous system go, I can't hold that? That's scary, because when something arrives that we've been wanting, who's done that, where it turns up, and then you go, I wasn't ready for that. I don't know how to handle that. What am I going to do? And that's a whole new, then you have to actually, your nervous system has to get ready to holding more. So you can want to hold more or bring in more, but until your nervous system is ready for it, it's going to sabotage on some level, if that makes sense. And that's why we keep going back round to zero. And that's why some people do it with money. They'll be like, they grow in income, but if they can't hold it, they're going to get rid of it, where they quickly can't get rid of it fast enough. And then they go back to zero and they're like, oh, why does this keep happening to me? It's because they've got a program of I can't save, or, they may have seen a pattern in childhood from parents or whatever that is. So we're playing out subconscious programs. And once we're aware of that, everything starts shifting. Who feels like they're a bit more ready to tackle that? It's not as hard as they thought. Doesn't need to be as difficult. So your subconscious programs run because it always wants the familiar. And the familiar is the pattern that's been playing out. So that's where it pulls us back into safety. So, for example, you might say, oh, I want that promotion at work. And then you get the promotion, and then suddenly you sabotage it and make mistakes, or do things wrong, or suddenly push it away because it wants safety. It's why people with anxiety struggle to change patterns for good. I've worked with so many different clients. That's why we revert back to overeating again. If we've lost weight, I've seen clients, have massive success and then revert back to old patterns. Or we stay in toxic relationships, whether that's friendship, love, whatever that looks like for you. It's because it wants what's safe, even when it doesn't feel good. It's why people stay in toxic relationships, and friends are going, why are you with that person? They're not good for you. But we go back to them and we repeat the cycle. It's because it's safety and it's all we know. And we want what's familiar, even if we know it's not good for us. And then protection is, it's created to protect you. So this is a safety mechanism that kicks in to protect you, even though you want the opposite. You go, I know I'm worth more than this toxic relationship. I know this is no good for me. But I've heard people say, well, better to be with what you know than the unknown. Better to stay in the familiar. And so that allows workplaces that you've outgrown, friendships that are really not nice to you, relationships, whatever that looks like for you, bosses that mistreat you, the list goes on. You know what I'm talking about. We go back to safety, or that could be in health. We sabotage and go back to safety because it's familiar. It's not what we want. Of course we don't. Who wants that? I don't. But it's familiar. It's why people suffering with depression struggle so much, because they've had that unhappy feeling for so long, that being happy is unfamiliar. So if you're used to a surrounding that is making you unhappy, but you're used to that, you're recreating something in your life that keeps you on a loop. So we start doing the same thing over and over. So it's only keeping you safe based on an old program. That's why it's so hard to break patterns. And that's why even when you know, I no longer want that pattern, we go back and slip back to it. Even though our nervous system is screaming at us to, it's not good for us, you know. I know for me, if I've been in anything that doesn't serve me or isn't conducive for my well-being, my nervous system will start skyrocketing. So my body will warn me first. That's why people get really unwell when they're in, you know, where you see people that eventually it catches up and they'll get really unwell because that pattern they've been running, their body will start screaming at them way before their mind catches up. So for me, my nervous system will start, I'll start getting anxious, or I'll start getting overwhelmed, or I don't feel like there's enough hours in the day and I'll start going, oh, what's going on here? Or I'll start overthinking, or I can't make choices like I normally can. You know, I don't have the clarity I normally have in my everyday life, or I'm not feeling that stillness, or I struggle to meditate. And I'll be like, what's happening? And then I'll slip back to old patterns. It's a program that constantly runs. It wants to always pull us back to safety, doesn't it? Even when we go, no, I don't want this safety. I want anything but that. I want this. I want this. I want this life. I want happiness. I want joy. I want love. I want, you know, peace. But our old friend safety, I had a client once, they used to say, name that alter ego, give it a name. And, you know, say that it's coming to visit you. So it was quite funny when he was like, oh, my friend's here. He's come to visit again. It was his alter ego that he knew he didn't want to hang out with. It's like an old friend you don't want to hang out with anymore. That's your alter ego. It's keeping you safe. It's just what it does. So that belief you have becomes a thought, which then shifts into an emotion, which then becomes a behavior, which then has your result, which has your story confirmed. So you have a deep-seated belief, and it might be, I'm never going to get anywhere. But you don't know that's your belief. Good things never happen to me. What's another one? I'm not good enough, or I doubt I'm ever going to get there, or I have so much fear around changing careers. You know, that's a big one that I get a lot of clients going. I remember working with a client. She was, her workplace was so toxic, and she came to me going, I feel so stuck. And we cleared her belief of this fear she had around, if I change, what if it's not good? And, you know, I might get overlooked, or it might fall apart. And, you know, and then it cleared back to some childhood programs she was running. But that thought was, I can't expect anything better. This is just how good it gets. Then the emotion was she was getting stressed. And I mean stressed. It was affecting her home life. It was affecting her relationship. Then the behavior was she was acting out. At work, she was just putting up with a really, really bad environment. But when we cleared the belief of her unworthiness, the result was she actually spoke to higher up management, got a promotion, and took over that person's job. So it was a really cool outcome. And the ripple effect was it changed the whole workplace. Like you just can't believe the snowball when you get back into when you shift a core belief. But if she hadn't done that, when she came to me, she was running this old program. Her story was confirmed of, it won't matter what I do, because this boss just had it in for her. But it would have gone back to her story of, I'm not good enough. I'm never going to get there. And then do you see how it just keeps going around? So you can play that out. So have a think about, what's that belief you're running? How's it playing out in your life right now? What is the core belief? And it may be, I'm never going to get there. I'm not good enough. It's all too hard. I'm actually petrified of making a change. And that might play out from a childhood wound or a story, or you've watched your parents, or whatever it is. You know your life and what you've been through. But you'll get that story confirmed. And it may be, see, relationships don't work for me. See, I've let down again. Another man lets me down. Whatever that story is for you, it plays out. And then if we don't clear the belief, we attract another relationship with the same thing. And we're like, oh, here we go again, or friendships, or whatever it is. Here we are again. Here we are again. And then we keep going back around. So a belief becomes a familiar result. So do you see how a deep-seated core belief, story, old record, pattern, whatever that is, creates that result that is familiar for you, even though you don't want it? You go, I do not want that outcome, anything but that. But it becomes evidence that what you thought was true. And this is why you can feel like you're on a loop of repeating the same patterns over and over again. And do you see why willpower, motivation isn't enough? Then if you wake up tomorrow and just go, nope, I'm going to do this thing. And then by Tuesday, you're hitting up the Tim Tams. That's why. Because that belief isn't there. There's something there that's going, you will never get there. But until you shift the core beliefs, and this is work that I did for years, I kept trying to do surface level pushing forward. And I've seen hundreds of clients with the same result. No matter what area of their life, there is a pattern that is playing out that pulls them back. Whether that's in love, I've seen clients repeat relationships, or I've seen clients afraid of getting into a relationship. I've seen fear of changing careers until it hits them so hard that they end up, their nervous system collapses. Don't wait for that. But it will prove to you, but it's an old record, it's an old story. It can be changed. Because once you realize you're playing a loop, you get to interrupt it. You get to pull it out by the roots. You get to say, it stops here. You no longer have to play that on a loop, because you start breaking the pattern by seeing it, witnessing it, and healing it. It no longer gets to become the same pattern. But sometimes we don't realize it's playing out because we're basing it on the 5% of the conscious mind of just trying to have willpower or motivation, or I'm just going to do this Monday, or, this is my year, I'm going to have all these things happen. But goal setting alone will not get you there if you're still playing an old program. I know, because my life fell apart like a deck of cards from having goal setting, ticking all the boxes, but actually still playing old patterns. And until I addressed them and realized they were playing on a loop, the same thing happened. And I've seen it with clients time and time again, that they'll go, why does this keep happening? And it's like, well, what's the core belief you have? And until we get to that and shift that and address that, it's going to keep playing out. So the reason why your willpower is not enough, that that's why we go, oh, that's it, I'm changing. How many times have we told friends and family something different's happening? That's it. I'm moving overseas. I always think those people are amazing. Oops, we're shifting too fast. Where'd I go? Oh, sorry about this. I don't know what happened. I'm too fast. Play that again. Oh, don't know where I was. Anyway, we were somewhere, weren't we? Don't know where we were. We went past that. Don't know. Just give me a second. So me. We'll get there. No, I don't know what's going on. It's taken off a mind of its own. Yeah, let's start again. We'll have a look. Oh, now it wants to work. We did that one. Getting back. Sorry about this. It's all keeping it real, isn't it? Yeah, well, we're here. We needed a break to integrate. If anyone has any questions about any of this, put it in the comments. And if you're following along, I know this is a lot, and it's a Thursday night, but we're keeping it real. I believe, when we dive deep into our truth, everything shifts. So willpower is where you're trying to force a new behavior, or you're relying on pressure, or you go, oh, something needs to change. So then we just get this, I'm going to change. Whereas identity change is changing your becoming, creating habits or creating deep-seated changes that becomes your new normal, builds new beliefs. So instead of I'm not good enough, you start moving from a space of I am good enough. And you've shifted any core beliefs around that. You've addressed them, you've witnessed them, you've seen them, and it creates lasting change. Because sometimes, have you ever heard the saying, like, until you have enough pain, it gets really hard to shift. So if you're trying to run new programs on willpower alone, know that that's not the outcome you're wanting. That is not going to create the shifts. It's the identity change. It's who are you becoming? What is that version of you that you know needs to start moving into? Who do you now become? Not who you've been. So it's different to willpower. Identity shifting is you actually become that person that no longer has that old belief, that old record. It's gone. It all flows from your identity out. So when you recreate a new identity, you are releasing the old belief, the childhood pattern that's been telling you on a loop who you are or that you're not good enough. So you create new thoughts. So if you think about the version of you in a year's time or 6 months' time, who is now having that life that you want, that you desire, and you know the area of your life you want to change, whatever that is, you would have written that down already. What is the new thought, decision, and what emotions are you going to be filled with? So instead of feeling that unhappiness that things aren't working out, what could be the emotion you're going to now run from? For me, it's peace. I know if my nervous system gets too heightened, too overactive, too overthinking, too much in my week, I know my emotion needs to be peace. So what beliefs do I need to release that I can't have balance and that I can't create a life of more stillness and choice? And what old pattern did I need to release that I have anxiety and I can never have anything but that I can't make choices, that I don't know how to attract in good things, or whatever, deep-seated beliefs we're running. What new thoughts do I have? Is I get to choose every day how I create my week, how I create my life, that I'm responsible for my actions daily. And I create peace from that. So do you see how you can get one emotion, one new identity, and start creating and shaping a new belief? And then what decisions do you make from that anchor in that identity? So for me, it's I'm going to meditate in the morning not because I'm forced to, not because it's a chore, but because I know that brings that emotion of peace that I want to live my life by. So that starts forming new beliefs. And then I'm creating actions, not based on willpower or motivation, just based on what my new core belief is. So have a think about, and you might run through this yourself, of what areas, what has been your belief, what is the identity you now want, and what needs to shape and be different to create that, and how is that going to start shifting? So your identity, once you start shifting your identity, instead of going, I suffer anxiety, or nothing good ever happens for me, or I only attract dumb relationships, or whatever belief you have, or I can never get anywhere, you start going, no, I can, but I'm starting with tomorrow. I'm starting with today, this week. That's all you have to face, because the new identity does not come from a leap and worrying about 12 months' time. It comes from one day at a time. That forms a new identity. So if you see someone in a year's time who's a completely different person, and you go, wow, you've completely changed. I've had people that I've known for years that go, I cannot believe the difference in you, Callista, from the version that they knew. The quiet, shy, blushing, anxious-ridden, person that would second guess myself, to confident, clear, peaceful, knowing exactly what I'm doing every day, the balance I create, and the choices I make based on my identity that I now live and breathe. It becomes very different. And clients I work with get to formulate this and change their life from that, because they're no longer running subconscious program that sabotages them. And when they do, they're fully aware of the program and they know exactly what to do to get them back to where they need to be. Who's still with me? Yeah, amazing. Who's having some light bulbs here? Put in the comments if that's shifting some stuff for you. You're going, I can see it now. If you've got any questions, all good. So awareness is power. I think I say that to all my clients, and I say it every day. It's the small daily shifts that create lasting transformation. Do not start Monday. I no longer do that. Free yourself from the starting Monday. Free yourself from, what are we going to be? August. August is going to be my month. No, we don't do that anymore. Every month's your month. So awareness is see your pattern, call it out. So let's use Tim Tams as an example. My pattern is every week I buy the Tim Tams when they're on special. I promise myself I won't eat them. I start Monday. I'm no longer a chocoholic. I'm aware of my pattern. You need to let go of what no longer serves. You don't identify as someone that eats chocolate. It doesn't exist anymore. It just doesn't serve you as your new identity. Why would you do that? What's the purpose? You have no need for it. You change the belief underneath. So if you have a statement of I'm never going to get anywhere, or you know, whatever statement you're making, you have a new belief. What is your new belief that counteracts the old belief you have? If for those that are aware of their belief, write a new one. What does the new belief need to be? And then you practice that new identity, and you do not beat yourself up when you slip up. If you have a bad day, it is a bad day. We're not perfect. We're not supposed to be. We're human. We go up and down. We're emotional, especially if we're women. We're hormonal. we get all kinds of stuff going on. It's a new identity. It's not you suddenly become a completely different person. So what is the new identity you are now going to practice? Is that you need to work on your confidence. I'm now confident. You become it before you are it. So becoming that version of you is you live it consistently every day. You make small choices and actions that reaffirm that new identity of who you're becoming. You no longer play out the old program. So then that old record that you've been putting on, that's been wreaking havoc in your life all these years, you don't put it on as much. And when you do, you go, I don't actually want to hang out with you anymore. And it's no longer safety. It actually is really uncomfortable. You'll notice it gets shorter and shorter. So for the sabotages, you'll notice you no longer stay in sabotages long. Is that making sense for everyone? I'm giving you a lot of information, I know. But it's a practice. It is a practice. Oh, we're up to that part. Oh, now it's skipping again. See what happens? So I'm just going to stop share. Yep. I don't know what's going on. Where did everyone go? Zoom, here we go. All right, I'd just love to know who's keeping up with that and any questions you have. I'm just going to read in chat. It feels like a loop. I know as a coach what is happening, but cannot get through it. Yeah. And you can have all the awareness in the world, but if you're playing the same loop, there's a deep-seated belief that's still running. There is a deep-seated belief that's still running. And when you get to the core of that, shifting that is everything. So it's not you have to take this leap, because too often some people think, all right, I've got fear. I just need to smash this fear and I'll be okay. I just need to do whatever it takes to get rid of it, like it's some kind of something they need to release. But when you realize, no, there's actually, what's the core belief? What's actually beneath that? And you get lower and deeper into that truth and start shifting that pattern, everything starts shifting. That's where you'll see things start changing on a loop. So who's feeling a little bit more like they're ready to start shifting? Like they go, you know what? I can see how this is going to happen and I can see what I need to do from here. And like I said, tonight, I'm going to send you, after this, you get the bonus of an identity shift reset meditation that's going to help reinforce everything you've just listened to. How cool is that? So we're going to start the process straight away. You're not just sitting here getting this wealth of information and having a transformation, but you're also going to get a meditation and a reset that's going to help reinforce this. And you can listen to that as much as you like. It's yours to keep. My gift to you for being so brave and coming along tonight and doing this work. So, for those of you that go, you know what, this has been amazing. I need more of this, or I want to work with someone to shift this core belief because I know doing it on my own is really difficult. Let me get back to my Zoom. Yes. So, for those who go, you know what, I really want to shift my core beliefs, I am offering tonight, I can give you a free call that we can dive deep into what patterns are you actually running and how we can shift them. So I'll put that in the chat for anyone that goes, I really want support. I know I'm feeling stuck and I really want some help just to shift through. And we'll dive deep and look at what patterns are you running, because if you're feeling stuck, don't stay stuck. I'm here to help because I know what that's like. And sometimes it can be something you can't see. It might be a program running underneath. But for those ready to do the deeper work, I would love to share a way we can work together to continue this process so you can actually access true freedom and true shifting and that peace and joy and happiness that you know is your birthright. Who would love to hear more? Give me a yes. Yes, amazing. I will just share it now if it wants to come up. It's been a surprise with Zoom tonight. All right, sharing it now if it wants to share. Here we are. Oh, that's what you get when you're a little bit out of practice. Is that? Yeah, that's it. Everyone can see that? So I have the Identity Shift program, and that is working with me one-on-one. So this will break you free from the identity that's been keeping you stuck. So if you feel like you've been playing on a loop and you go, I feel like I'm going around and around in circles and I can't seem to get anywhere, this is a 12-week one-on-one program. So we are working one-on-one. It is personalized. It's individual for you. And we are breaking through those patterns that have been keeping you stuck so you no longer have to stay where you are. And now it won't let me scroll. Who knew? Oh, just give me a second. It's been one of those nights, hasn't it? Oh. Only here. You see it live, don't you? So I've made a decision. I've only got 10 places available at $500 off. So this is for the first 10 that take up this offer. And once they're gone, it will go back to full price. And I've never reduced it by this much, but I really want to see, I know the impact and difference this makes. There is payment plans if you need it. And if you're not sure, book a call. I'm happy to have a chat to see where you're at and what's happening for you. But if you keep repeating the same patterns and you've tried to change, you've done your self-help, you know you're meant for more, you're exhausted by really trying to break through. I have seen clients shift so much just in 2 sessions. Like I've seen people, I reckon in a fortnight, change their life. So what we go through is the identity shift method where we're diving deep into your subconscious programs. We're looking at what are your beliefs that are holding you back? What is the emotional blocks and the conditioning that you no longer serve you? Then what happens is we rebuild that you start becoming that new identity, that you reinforce patterns. Because once we clear out the subconscious beliefs or the old beliefs that don't serve you, you create and instill new programs that create total change. I have seen people smash and change their life completely. But I can't tell you the difference it makes when you clear past patterns. It is everything. And you'll see when you get the reset meditation tonight how much it will start the change. But imagine waking up and you stop questioning yourself. You start feeling that calm instead of overwhelm. You start trusting yourself. You create relationships that feel so aligned. And you know you're not living from your past. So this is where it's one-on-one personalized. This is just for you on what you need. It is not a group program. It is a one-on-one. You get all the tools that I've developed over the past 15 years that not only have helped me, but my clients. You get a library to keep, which is guided meditations, hypnosis, and I create things specifically for you as well. So you'll get specific for what you're needing, not just generic. And you get to keep these for life, so you can revisit them whenever you need. You'll get journaling workshops, worksheets, prompts, whatever you need. Because when I work one-on-one, I go specific into where are you struggling, where are you holding back, and I develop exactly what you need to create shifts. And I've seen clients do this in less than 12 weeks. 12 weeks, you will be a different person by the end. Nothing makes me happier than when a client comes to me and they're struggling, and then I see a total transformation. And I'm talking their confidence, their beliefs, and the choices they make change, whether that's career, relationships, what happens around them. And I'm talking freedom, income, whatever that is. I've seen so much change. I've worked with so many clients. And you get support in between. So if you need to reach out and message or email, my inbox is open for you. Like, you're getting full support, because I know what it's like. You have a session and then something comes up, you reach out. I'm here to support. And this is how I've seen clients break through, because then I can say, hey, this is a pattern, try this. Or I can see what's happening here, try this. So like I said, it's normally $17.90. You're getting it at such $500 off, and this is only for the first 10. So once they're gone, they're gone. That's it. So what you're getting is 12 weeks of private coaching. You're getting accountability. You're getting your meditations. You're getting workshops, prompts to keep. You're getting, a library of things that are going to help you, some tools. You get reflection, and you'll get it tailored to you. So there's some questions there. I'll give you a copy of this as well. And there is payment plans for those who need it. I've had clients that I've worked with. There was someone that came to me. I remember her like it was yesterday. She was so scared, going, is this going to be for me? Am I going to be okay? And she was so nervous. She smashed it in 4 weeks, changed her job, changed her life, lost weight, started dating. Like, I'm talking glowing. I've had people come to me that have completely transformed their life. Do not stay stuck. If you're on the fence, book a call. I'm happy to chat to you. No obligation. I just love seeing transformation. It is my passion to see people change. So if you're on the fence, or this is for you, reach out. We can have a chat. I'll put the link. You'll get it in an email anyway with your reset, but I will put this in the chat just so you can have a look yourself. And if you go, you know what, I need this. I've had enough of staying stuck. I've had enough of repeating programs. I've had enough of staying in the same loop. I'm ready for change. This program will change your life. I have seen it time and time again. I know the difference it makes. And this is such a reduced price. Like, this is, it's a blessing, because I know the difference it makes. So book a call, sign up, whatever you need to do, but just know that if you are ready for deep-seated change, it is the belief. So from here, really start being aware of what program are you running, what belief is holding you back, and how much have you had enough of staying in the same loop. It is exhausting. I know from myself, staying in the same relationship patterns, the same career, all of that thing. I've built a business, multi-six figures, from taking a leap of faith. I remember working in a job going, I want to make a difference in the world. It was petrifying. As someone that's had anxiety, that is scared to take a leap, to having hundreds of clients is a massive shift. Massive. If you told me 10 years, 20 years ago, hey, this is going to be your future, I would have said, no, that's impossible. But when you learn processes and you get to really understand deep-seated change, everything transforms. I'd love to hear in the comments, how are you feeling now compared to when you arrived? Give me a word, or out of 10, just how have you felt just from the shift of, and if anyone wants to come off mute and ask any questions, feel free. I'm here to chat. I'd love to have a talk to you. about relief. Amazing, Gina. But yeah, if you know this is for you, like I said, there are only 10 spots, and once they go, they go. I know the deep-seated change. This is like, I don't open my books for these very often. And when I do, they are normally at a lot higher price. I have people that have, normally, it's 17.90 plus. And for these kind of breakthroughs, this is like very reduced, only because I really sat and went, I just want transformation for people. I'm here to inspire change. And I know the joy I got from my own change over the past 15, 20 years, that I want the same for others, because the ripple effect of then you, it will impact and change your life. And that flow on is everything, because then you get to show up in a way that is you. You get to experience joy. You get to experience peace. You get to experience no longer staying in those patterns. And I've seen so many clients change their life, and it just fills me with joy. So if anyone's got any questions, or I'd love to hear how you're feeling now and how you're feeling out of 10 and how your life has transformed. Like I said, book a call if you're just wanting to have a chat and see where you're at. I'd love to connect. It's, I love connection. So if you go, this is what's happening for me, I'd just love to go through it and see, what are my true beliefs? What are my true core patterns? I know there's something keeping me stuck, but I just can't seem to work out what it is. I would love to know. Everyone for coming tonight. I truly appreciate your time on this. It's Thursday night, isn't it? This week's a blur. I truly appreciate your time, and know that the biggest transformation is the identity change. I've done so much work, years of reflection, years of change, seeing clients change, and I know this is the stuff that shifts. It is not, like I said, it is not willpower alone. So I hope this has given you some tools for change, some things to process. And I just want to thank you from my heart to yours for being here tonight. Any questions, reach out. But thank you so much, and I'll be in touch. You'll get